So humanity is without excuse because of the witness of God's creation. There's a great story, certainly documented. As a church, we've been working with a people group on the border of Burma or Myanmar and Thailand called the Karen people. I don't know if you've heard this story, but the story of the Karen people is this. That when we first went to them, we discovered that they're all Christian. Now, by that I don't mean they're all born again, but I mean that the base level of what they've been brought up on is Christian. And it's going back hundreds of years. The oral tradition in their society is this, that somewhere along the line in their tribe, some of the elders recognized this creation had to be made by someone. And if there is a being who created us, who created the earth, then sooner or later he wants to communicate with us. They actually have the story of that he created a man and a woman, and they ate something and disobeyed God. It's in going back hundreds of years. And whenever the Burmese came and tried to convert them to Buddhism, they resolutely refused. And they always believed that a white man, who they'd never seen, would come with white wings and tell them about this God. 1817, an American missionary called Adoniram Judson came to Burma. For 7 years he labored without any fruit. Tried to convert Buddhists. One person came to Christ. Until one day he met one of the Karen tribe. And through interpreter told him about the gospel. Within several months, thousands of the Karen people had come to Christ, were baptized. Why? Because someone said, there must be a God because of creation. We are without excuse. That's what God says in his word. And then in chapter 122, right into 3, he says this, something else happens. For although they knew God through his witness in creation, they neither glorified him as God nor gave thanks to him, but in their thinking became futile and their foolish hearts were darkened. Something else happens. When someone blatantly rejects the knowledge of God that they have in creation, they swap it for a lie. They begin to believe something else. What's the problem? Well, the problem is sin. Not sins, not the stuff that you do that's wrong, but the core of the problem. And sin is this. It's a propensity of humanity to live as if they are God. Sin is the decision to live away from God rather than towards him. The decision can be blatant, it can be subtle, and it's a constant battle. It's the oldest battle in the world. And the temptation is to live as if we are not accountable for our lives, moment by moment, to the one who made us. Sin is the failure to live under the rule of God. We sin when we place ourselves in charge of our lives. It's universal. All of humanity does that. And out of that flow our behavior. But ultimately, when we reject the knowledge of God in creation and the revelation that we have, something happens. We begin to worship something else. Paul talks about idols. He says this, they became fools. They exchanged the glory of the immortal God for images made to look like a mortal human being, and birds and animals and reptiles. Now, in ancient days, of course, particularly in Rome, they had idols. They had literal physical idols, and people were expected to bow down. Eventually, the emperor became an idol. There was emperor worship. He was the Lord. He was the God, and so they bowed down to him. And of course, at the heart of sin is replacing God with idols. We are hardwired to give our lives for something. We will worship something that will give us meaning and significance. And when we reject the witness of God that we have to fill it with something that is in society. They replaced the true God with substitutes. Now, what would that be today? What would that be today? Well, in Cambridge, it might well be knowledge. The pursuit of knowledge. It's a God. What might it be in other places? I was preaching in Portadown last week, and a young man came up to me and he said, Paul, never been to a football match in my life, but I went on Boxing Day. My team was playing. He said, He said, I have never been in an atmosphere like it. He said, and he used these words. I was shocked. He said, I experienced true worship. There are things in our society that we have placed above and beyond God, and they have become our idols. And when we reject God, we have to fill the worship of Him with something. They exchanged, they replaced. We have a shrine in football. We've got our colours, we've got our community, we've got our songs. And you know something? When you beat your biggest rivals, the endorphins kick in. I remember coming home, we beat our rivals this year. Did I mention that? On Boxing Day. And I said to Priscilla, that's the true meaning of Christmas. No, I was joking, of course. I was joking, of course. But here's the point. When things are upgraded to God, we're in the realm of idolatry. Whatever form it takes, our hearts are prone to replacing the true God with substitutes that promise more for less. Not just doing bad. It's even putting good things in the place of God. John Calvin, the theologian, said this: the heart is a perpetual idol, factory idol. We often make huge sacrifices in our lives to find significance and security through careers, money, travel, academic achievement, often good in themselves. But here's the point. When you upgrade them to God, we cross the modern threshold of a modern-day temple. At the heart of sin are disordered desires that exchange God for other dreams. We exchange God for other lovers and goals that promise to fulfill us.
If you enjoyed this video today, why not give it a like? Furthermore, why not subscribe to our channel as we seek to share the light and love of Jesus into your life?